So how did the Summer Ultra go on the Pen Llŷn?
Oh, do you know, I really loved it. Just the whole day, the contrast between the scenery. I loved being on the coast to start with, and then crossing inland.
The Pen Llyn Ultra was my first 100-mile race, so I didn't really know what to expect time-wise.
Well, do you know, it was very challenging.
Yeah, it went well and that day. I started off a bit too quick, if I'm being honest. You know, it was the hardest thing I've ever done and that, but I was just so glad to get through the thing and complete it. Yeah, it was probably one of my best achievements, you know, and it just felt great to cross the line.
Personally, it went incredibly well. My first ultra.
Was there a plan? Did you beat the plan?
Just keep moving, don't stop and eat.
Yeah.
Beat Hugo style. Beat Hugo.
There wasn't really a plan.
Overall, the race went well. I think any finish without injury is success.
I'm tired. I'm kind of tired, but hanging in there.
Stuff.
How's it feel?
Killing.
Is it?
As soon as I got on the tarmac, I thought I just...
There was, I've always sailed around the coast on various sailing races and so on, and then there was a local competitor who was one of the first ultra runners on the Llŷn Peninsula, Gordon Hughes, and he ran another ultra marathon which is on Holyhead called the Ring of Fire. And then I thought, you know, we've got a spectacular area here on the Llŷn, it'd be just fantastic to, you know, put an ultra marathon on here. So that was back in 2016. We had 47 turned up for the first one, and that was just when we had the 75 miler. And it was initially just to show off the Llŷn Peninsula.
Well, my brother-in-law Lucas, my cousin Adam and I all used to live in Kansas City a few years back, and some of our best memories were on the trails running together. So since then Adam had moved to London and Lucas had moved to Denver, but we had this grandiose idea of running a 100-miler together, sort of as a way to stay connected, but then as an excuse to reunite on the trails come race day. So anyhow, once we all were pot committed to a race, it was just a matter of logistics. Summertime seemed to work well for everybody, and the idea of Lucas and I traveling to the UK sounded pretty appealing and even adventurous. So we fired up the Run Ultra website and just started ranking races. We first had to find something that we would all qualify for, and then we had to find something that, for the lack of a better word, looked epic. You know, dramatic scenery, challenging trails, or as Hugh coined, beautifully brutal. So in the end, we agreed on Pen Llyn.
2 years ago I dropped out of a race, and after that I was looking for a sort of a revenge race. Then I came across Pen Llyn Ultras on the internet. I didn't end up racing it that year, but next year I was looking for another challenge, a 100-mile race, my first one, and yeah, Pen Llyn became the one.
I think this year, I'm trained as well as we should have done on the previous year. But at the start of the race in the morning, I met up with John, and we decided to run together, and I thought we worked out really, really well.
It's funny, isn't it? Because we weren't planning to run together at all.
No, we weren't.
Plans.
No.
But we started talking on the beach at the start line.
Also, even before you'd started.
We went off when it started, but we were still talking when the race started.
Yeah.
And we were going similar pace, weren't we? So
yeah, if anything, we were going a bit too fast. So we got to the first checkpoint, and we were way ahead of the schedule, like.
Now you've got to remember this is 100 miles, so just go briefly what the course is. Aberech on the beach, all the way the back road through Longoed to the back end of Clunog, then down, and this is in the middle of the night, all the way down towards Trevor, up the back of Trevor Mountain.
I don't know whose idea that hill was at the start of a 100-miler, but they should be on trial in The Hague. It was horrible. It was so steep and so high, I think I nearly banged my head on the moon. Nearly at the checkpoint. See you later.
Down through Llangwythein, all the way down into Pwllheli, along the coastal path. Then they've got Llanbedrog, Abersoch, Cilan, Rhyw, Aberdaron, all the way round to Porthcolmont, Sir Coch. The big vert back up to Llangwythein. Then down to through Llythfaen, into Pwllheli, and along the beach back home. 100 miles, yeah. No car.
Yeah, we're so lucky. It's so much of the history of Llyn weaving in and out, just like the course does. You've got, for instance, the Tin Man, which is on the headland of Llanbedrog. He's overlooking and protecting the Llŷn Peninsula. That's been up for several hundred years. It's also a place where we put an honesty book. So these are normally situated where the competitor stops and then they can turn around and take a look, take a breath and so on. So yeah, there's the Tin Man. Uwch Mynydd for the 75 and the 100s, this is when they've done a good bit of mileage. The 75s will have done at least 30 miles. The 100s will be coming up to about 40, 50, 60 miles. Llŷn Mynydd itself, it looks over at Ynys is a tiny island in the Irish Sea, and this is where all the pilgrims used to walk from Holywell all the way towards the Llŷn Peninsula, and 134 miles, and then they used to go and finish their pilgrimage on Ynys. We've also got a bit of history. It's the famous pub, the Sir Coch pub on the beach. This is fantastic. It's also a place where a lot of the runners have a DNF, do not finish, because they'll stop, the weather's out, we've got a little microclimate here on the Llŷn Peninsula, and they'll just stop and have a pint. But if they carry on, they'll go past the beautiful little church, which is St. Bueno. This is where the pilgrims would stop along the way. It's about the 7th century, so yeah, there's some beautiful history sites and so on, as well as, you know, the historic folklore books, such as, you know, the stories of Mabinogi up in the, you know, the Llythfaen mountains and stuff. So yeah, it's great.
I first came across the Pen Llyn Ultra when I signed up for the 50-mile version last year.
Good effort.
It seemed like an obvious choice for me to sign up to because I love running coastal trails back home in Pembrokeshire. Because all 3 races go the same way for the first 10 miles, the first 10 miles were fairly familiar to me. It's quite fast and flat, apart from the climb up the Llanbedrog steps, which are a bit of a slog. After that, the course splits in 2 at Abersoch.
Everyone doing alright?
Yeah, good.
Good.
The Cilan headland provides some of the most beautiful views of the race. It's a very tough section, but you've got stunning views across to Snowdonia and the Bay of Cardigan. My goal going in was to get under 15 hours. Never quite know with ultras, but my training had gone really well, and I also had some very pleasing race results in the run-up, so I was pretty confident.
that's my favourite bit, is going up over Garn Badron. And it just feels so remote and wild. And then a nice big descent before you hit the coast again. And the north coast was just beautiful. It's pretty misty on the day, so it was really atmospheric.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit sort of tricky to see where to go at times.
Did it lift for you?
No.
The mist? Were you coming down from Cliffan before it lifted?
I think we were further on than that, really.
Oh, you were, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah. And it was just you to be running along the beach, but not be able to see the end of the beach where you're going to come up. It just felt sort of really wild and like a proper adventure.
I tend to start race really fast, and I did so on this one. I was actually planning to run together with an Irish guy called Kevin. I met him the day before. He was a really nice guy. He wasn't having a very good day though, so he fell behind quite early. And I ended up running together with 3 other guys, 2 American guys, Brady and Adam from the United States, and 1 guy from Ireland called Robert. We had a very nice pace, and when the sun came up, we came speeding through Gili. It was a very nice moment, seeing the sun come up, seeing, I know, the ocean super flat without any wind. I was just seeing how long I could keep up the really nice pace, and I had to let them go at about 100 kilometers. I was still having fun. I knew I was going to finish the race, just had to let them go because they were too fast.
Let's see, well, we pushed off at 11 p.m. I loved that. You know, temperatures were cooler, and for whatever reason, running at night is much easier at the beginning of a race as opposed to the end. And then my cousin Adam and I, we set off together and found our pace. I had my GPX watch rolling, which was the first time I was wearing it, so it was really nice to have that. And I quickly realized it was very, very important to have, and away we went. So Adam and I ran for the first about 45 miles together, which, you know, looking back, felt like a blip in time. It was Adam's first 100-mile race, and our plan was to try to stick together for at least the first checkpoint, but he was an absolute rock star, and we pounded it out for about 8 hours together before he dropped back a touch. But I'll tell you what, we had so much fun. It was such a joy running together, and it's exactly why we signed up, and it's certainly an experience that we both will cherish. He was able to finish in under 24 hours, so the whole thing was pretty special. Anyhow, after Adam dropped back, I stuck with Maarten and Rob. They were also running with us along the way, and they're both great runners and couldn't be nicer guys. So I stuck with them till about mile 65 or 70. And when you're with people for that amount of time and you're overcoming all these obstacles, it's pretty cool. It's you know, I think the trail running community couldn't be nicer, yet tough as nails. And really the first 2/3 of the race for all of us, I think, had almost this serendipitous camaraderie between us. Keeps your mind away from feeling tired, feeling bored, which was just really perfect. But then, after that, I was on my own. And I have to say, so much of why I run ultras is the mental, physical, and emotional state that ensues at these moments. You get to a point where everything just simplifies. You're only thinking about your basic needs, and your senses are amplified. Anymore, we live in this world of 1,000 distractions coming at you from every angle, and in these solitary moments, late in a race, I find myself just thinking about that next step, or listening to the rhythm of my exhausted breath, or even feeling the strain of my body as I'm slowly tugging along. And I love it. I truly love it. Certainly not every moment, but I love being in a place where there's only one objective, which is to finish the race. And in doing so, I think I become a better version of myself. I think all ultra runners at some point become a better version of themselves. You know, no ego, no judgment, no distractions, just a single purpose. And with that, I feel like, you know, you gain perspective and gratitude, and you recognize beauty and possibility. It's truly why I run. One of my best memories of the entire race was finishing, obviously, but certainly the memory of finishing and falling into my girlfriend's arms was top notch.
Oh, amazing! 19 hours, 46, 100 miles, started at 11 o'clock last night.
The first like 20 miles or so of the race was just really fun. It's coming into Llan Bedrog. I was feeling really good. It was kind of a bit of a edgy time because everyone was still trying to find their place. There's a lot of toing and froing, and you're feeling the pressure a little bit and trying to settle into your own rhythm. But I was very happy to see that the tide was out, because when I did that section in the Winter Ultra, the tide was right in and had to wade through the water, and I actually fell and I was swimming. And I was about 4 miles into a 35-mile race. It was soaking wet in November. So I was very happy this time to... I don't think I even got my feet wet. Yeah, it was a good part of the race. It's really beautiful there, and it was such a nice morning as well.
Yeah, it was my first one, yeah, so, and hopefully there's many more to come.
Yeah, so how long have you been running?
Like it's near a year now, yeah, so, you know, like go back 8 months or so, I would never have thought I'd be doing an ultra marathon.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I didn't like doing that in the training runs, you know.
Yeah.
That long bit of time, I hit some walls there. Oh.
You've only got a little bit of tarmac here.
Yeah.
And then through the field.
I like the bit from Turcourt to Kirstside and all that, but
yeah,
it's a long way to go.
Yeah. Well, you're nearly halfway.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Cheers, man.
All the best.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'll catch up with you later.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, mate.
Oil. Yeah, any hard parts physically or emotionally in the race or the route?
Whole thing.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know, I hit a hell of a wall halfway through, and then coming over piss stick and that, yeah, I was just slogging along and that. And then luckily a couple of the other guys from the running club came back from behind, and that gave me a bit of a pick up to go on to Nantes, and then I pushed through to the end. So
yeah. Did you stick with them, or did you push on a bit?
They left me.
Right.
Yeah, so they went on, but I ran with a lad from away, and you know, it was just nice to run with someone, and you know, it just gave me a push to the end, to be honest. So.
Taking on plenty of water?
Yeah.
Don't you know? Honesty book.
Yeah.
Marvellous.
Yeah.
Feeling good?
You got another one to pick up at the next station in the lookout post at the next.
There wasn't really a plan, to be honest, because I've been doing loads of short fell races, about 4 or 5 miles, and the most I would have run is maybe 12 miles or something like that, yeah. So I didn't really train specifically for it, for the distance, and beforehand I wasn't nervous at all, because I had no expectations of myself when I went into the race. And then I just started running, you know, I was chatting away with some of the other competitors, people I knew, and we just went that way. And then by the time I got to Abersoch, I was on my own, you know, for the 40 odd miles that left to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I was with you at Llan Bedrog.
Yeah.
And there was 3 of you.
Yeah.
Rory was doing 75,
yeah.
and then so just after Abersoch, just a few miles in.
Yeah.
Just by yourself.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
So I could see Hugh occasionally in the distance, maybe a mile or so behind.
Yeah.
So I always knew he was there somewhere. Yeah, so there was no real let-up for me, because I never knew how far away somebody was behind me.
Yeah.
Until maybe I got to Pwllheli, which is outside, 4 or 5 miles outside Pwllheli, and a couple of friends who were on their bikes had seen Hugh, who was in second place, and they told me where, you know, he was about a mile or so behind me, 20 minutes, whatever. So I was quite happy, but then, you know, I hit the sand, where is it, what's it called?
After
Abererch, yeah, Abererch, on the Abererch beach. So past the train station, down to the beach, and I kind of used every last ounce of energy running along the beach and up to the finish.
Yeah. But I had the really bad moments in Whistling Sands. I was like basically dead on my feet. Yeah. My wife wasn't happy, and she said to my daughter, "Well, if he's like this when we get to Turcourt," then she said, "Well, I'll pull him out." But then fair play to John, like he got me through the Whistling Sands bit.
Well,
and then I got second wind.
Yeah. Well, we just kept going, didn't we?
You
I think we did right was we didn't stop, did we? You know, even though we might have tired, both of us got tired at certain points, but we kept going, didn't we? If we had to walk.
Definitely.
But I think we both helped each other. I think through the race. Because you got a second win. You got a second win when I was tiring.
Yeah.
And it was like him. He was pulling me along, and it's like it really worked well. We kind of dovetailed together.
What my plan was on the day was because it was my third and final 75-mile race. All I wanted to do was finish the race, so I had no plans of trying to beat my time or nothing like that. And I thought to myself, just finish the race. And anyway, like John said, on the morning of the race, we just got together and we ran it together. And I think that was a good thing because I think if I was running out on my own, I think I might have proper struggled and got to one point thinking, no, I don't know what, because I hadn't trained enough for this. To be fair, on last year, but you know, thanks to John, like he was spot on.
Yeah. So you kept saying, didn't you? You kept saying, "Oh, I'm not looking for time. I'm not looking for time," all the way through, and saying that I'm just going to finish it if I can get to Aberdaron with this much time to spare, to the cut-off, and saying then I'll be okay.
Well, that was the plan. That was the plan, wasn't it? To get to Aberdaron, because basically it was just like I think we were like at least a good couple hours getting in the bank, getting to Aberdaron, and I thought, oh, that's it, happy, because we had that time in the bank. So when we were getting through the tough bits from Aberdaron right through to Whistling Sands and on to Coch, we knew if I made it to Coch, then there was only one way home, and then that was it. Like.
Joy. Okay. Good effort, everyone. Diane, good effort. Diane, great effort. Oh, no problem. Enjoy the rest. I'll see you out there. Yeah, hardest part then, the last mile.
No, that was okay because you can see the finish kind of thing, even though it's hard with perspective because it never seems like you're getting any closer. Yeah, but you eventually get there. But the hardest part is from Llŷn to Pwllheli.
Toughest part for me is going down from Llŷn, changing to my road shoes and just getting used to the terrain, coming back on tarmac and going past the Vic in Llŷn. But I spend most of my time and going past as well.
Physically, that was physically the toughest.
Yes, the tarmac's just brutal on your legs after doing 35 miles.
Yeah. Any mental sticky situations?
At the end, about 5 miles, I knew there was 2 lads in front of me and could see him. Just mentally preparing myself to try and pass him, and I got him in the end.
Fantastic.
But I think the hardest part was probably that last mile on the sand, because we could just see the finish line.
Yeah.
And it was just there, but still so far away, and just everything felt so heavy at the time. But then just coming across the finish line was just brilliant.
The most difficult part of the course to me was, I think, the part after Aberdaron. It had really narrow trails and they were about a foot deep and a couple inches wide. It's hard to even walk on. I was running alone at this point, and well, I guess I lost a lot of time there. Still, it's a place worth visiting though, because the views were spectacular. I was camping out inside my car before the race, and on the night before I locked my keys in. The wind was really picking up, and I did look forward to sleeping outside on that night, so I did what I had to do and smashed my window. After that, of course, I had to clean out all the glass. It took me a while, but I had a great sleep after that. In ultras, it's often the same. You just have to make some sacrifices to get a good result. In this case, it just was really for my car, but good for my race.
Because you look at your watch or whatever, and you know how far to go, and you know it's on road, and that might suit different people, but I found it really difficult on the road. Just keeping upright, almost, not hunching over, and probably
different style to the shorter mountain routes and trails that you used to.
Yeah, definitely. I was quite happy when we hit steeper ground, up or down, because it meant
you said you did. You enjoyed, and you did a pretty good section between Pistop and Llŷn.
Yeah, the downhill section through the woods there. Yeah. Because I remember going there when I was a kid, so that was fast. I think if you're looking at Strava, then you'll see I'm bombing it down there.
Yeah.
And then the climb from the beach to the cafe, I ran that. I don't know why, I had a burst of energy for some reason. And then I walked. I thought I'd be conservative, and I walked, the zigzags up.
Yeah.
Saw my family, my brother and my sister, my mum. They gave me some snacks, and they tried to walk with me, but they couldn't keep pace with me. And then, there's a really good support crew at the top of Llŷn Ultra just before Llŷn, and they had some food, whatever, and I felt good. I felt alright. And then on my own then until Hughes' house.
Being, amazing of what they were doing. Gordon Hughes, 2016, won it. Where is he? There you go, won it. Raymond Cassidy won it in 2017, third doing his first ultra. Yeah, Cass, big wave at the back. Hugo Thomas took the mick out of him and how ugly it was, so we gave it to him in 2018. Becky's just smashed the 75 for the first time for the Llŷn Striders, so you can have this in the living room in your house if you want to. It's like, how am I going to take this on the bus this afternoon? Horrendous.
You said you took 3 hours off of last year's time?
Yeah.
So everything went well then? Was there a plan? Did you beat the plan?
Just keep moving, don't stop and eat.
Yeah.
Beat Hugo's time. Beat Hugo.
I was chuffed to that, because that's the only thing I wanted to do was finish it.
Yeah.
That was my plan. Because Vicky did it the previous year, and she did it in 23 and a half, I think, so I felt really pressured, because I thought, God, if she's only done it with half an hour to spare, Hugo had only done it with an hour to spare, and he kept on telling me how hard it was. So he was, saying all the time, well, it's hard, and I thought, God. So I was really panicking that we weren't going to make it. So I said to Vicky, just finish it, but do it. If we did it a minute under Hugo's time, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
So I did like a little plan where I should be in each checkpoint. And by the time I got to Port Colmon, I had about an hour and a half in the bank. And then I knew then that I'd beat Hugo. So it was sorted.
Fantastic.
But I think we did faster from Aberdaron than what we did through Aberdaron. If that makes sense.
So the second half.
Yeah.
Was a negative split.
Yeah, I think, because we took it so easy on the way there.
Yeah.
And we were like, people were passing us, and we were just enjoying it. And then from Aberdaron to Llŷn Peninsula, I think we started passing one or two. And then by the time we got to Port Colmon, me and Vicky passed quite a few there. And then I knew then it was just getting to Tycoch and getting home. So when I got to Tycoch, I knew then, that's it, it's done.
Great.
Yeah, it was hard though.
And you were only half an hour behind Cass and John.
I think at the end...
Did you know that?
No. I just kept on asking if they were together. And then Chris came with us for a little bit, and he was looking at the phone. I didn't look where anyone was. I didn't even look at my watch. I didn't put it on. I just went with how we felt. And he said, they're still together, not far. And checking people that were behind us as well. But I didn't think we'd be so close to them. So I was quite chuffed with that. If it wasn't for blisters though from Hugh's house, I think we would have finished earlier. But by then, every time I was hitting the floor, it was just like I could just feel something busting or...
Yeah.
So that was hard.
Managing the pain.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think we ran from Llŷn through Hugh's house all the way.
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I thought, when I get to Coch, I'm going to have a shandy. I thought, you know, and you said the same thing, didn't you? Yeah. And I thought, yeah, brilliant. We'll have a shandy, but stick to a half.
Absolutely, it was lovely, wasn't it?
It was fantastic, yeah.
You know, you're drinking just water throughout, and then you, and then I mean, I had salts in my water as well, like, you know, the electrolytes and stuff, and then we spoke about having a shandy and take off, and you know what?
It's like a little motivator.
It was lovely, yeah. And like John was saying, we were getting a bit too relaxed, yeah. And then like Gareth Davis, he was marshalling there, and the thing I asked him was, you know, how far back he was behind us, and he said about half an hour. So I said to John, you know what, we need to get going, yeah.
So Gaz's face when Gareth told him that, it was like,
come on, we've got to go.
Right, we've got to go. Not back your shandy.
No,
so we were off then.
It was good. Yeah, fair play. Oh, very good.
I had a target of between 10, 12 and 13 hours, and I did in 10 hours, 16 minutes, and I was quite impressed, to be honest with myself. But I think I've got a bug after it, so I've entered, the day after I entered another Ultra as well.
Fantastic.
As we hit Llŷn Peninsula, I was actually starting to feel quite bad. I was struggling to keep up with Lee at this point, but I knew I needed to kind of push on and be by myself. I get to a point when I'm running where I just want to be alone. It's part of the reason I love running, just having that space. So I kind of drove forward a little bit, and as soon as I was by myself, I just got a second wind, and I was feeling really good again. And then actually I think I had a really good 15 miles where I felt very strong and I was pushing quite hard. I was hurting by this point, but I was still really enjoying myself. For me, I kind of, between up to T-Cork, I was feeling quite good and I was really pushing it, and I think I put quite a lot of distance between me and the next runner on that section coming into T-Cork. And then as I was leaving there, I just felt terrible, and I left the checkpoint, sort of ran along the beach for a bit, and I got out of sight, and I had a little moment where I almost sat down and I was walking for a bit, only a few minutes, and I gave myself a good talking to, and then to Llŷn and I was feeling pretty good, and in my head I had this idea that once I was on the road it was just going to be easy and I'd be almost there. And the road section was just pure hell the whole way. As soon as I hit the road, my feet started to really, really hurt. They've been hurting a lot anyway, but on the hard surface they got really battered, and I got some pretty nasty blisters on that section. So by the end I felt terrible, and mentally it was really hard as well, because I think you think you're so close to the end, but in reality you've still got 15 miles to go. So yeah, I should probably apologise to all the lovely people who were giving me loads of support, and I think I just scowled at everyone that went past me at that point. I was almost in tears by the last checkpoint. And then as you come onto the beach for that last mile or kilometre along the beach, that was so painful because you could see the flags in the distance and they just didn't seem to be getting any closer, and I was just looking at my feet and counting to 100, and then I'd look up and they still wouldn't seem any closer, but that was the only way I could get through it.
I'd lose you in that one, mate. Not a good idea to fall in that one, mate. That would have been a bit of a early finish to the race if I lost you in that hole.
Quite a few inspirational people that, well, you're all inspirational, but there's quite a few out there this year that have, well, really impressed us. I'd like Paul Watts and Steve Harris to come up, please. Where is Steve? There we are. There we are. Yay! Awesome, awesome. For all of you that don't know, Paul is a blind runner and Steve Harris kindly was his guide runner this weekend. Oh, I got emotional. Paul, can you just say how many marathons you've done?
350.
And how many ultras have you done?
18, and that was 5 this year.
Big round of applause. Now we've got a special award for you, Paul. You also get the Welsh Love Spoon. There you go, mate. The Welsh Love Spoon. There we go. And Light Up, you would like to. Oh, they're on the other side there for you. But he would like to give you some fantastic little prizes and so on, and also for Steve Harris as well. Brilliant stuff. Big round of applause. Well done, Paul. Well done. Thank you very much.
And it was really good, very, very good.
And it was really funny because it seemed that once Cass got a sniff of the fact that he was going to beat the time he'd done last year, it was like, right, this is it. We're going to do it, wasn't it? I mean, you were determined then.
I couldn't. Do you know what? I couldn't actually believe that the time we got. Like it was 18 hours something. Yeah. And I'd taken like 2 hours off last time's record, like, and I could not believe it because, as I said, I hadn't trained enough, you know, and all the guys were doing the recce's and that, yeah, and I missed quite a few of them, and I just, like I said, just wanted to get the race done. Didn't look for the time, and the time was a bonus, yeah. But on the whole, yeah, I mean, I think it was one of the best races out there, and it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because I think when we got to Llŷn, I think that was when you realised, wasn't it, that we could really walk it and still beat a time.
Oh, definitely.
There, but we kind of pushed each other. We say, well, we'll run to that bridge over there, then we'll walk a bit, and then run and walk. So we kept going that way.
Oh, it was really good. You know, it's like us two running together. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, it did work well.
Yeah,
really well. Yeah,
very good.
So good. And then in the final bit, we started passing some of the 50 competitors.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. We were getting down towards Llŷn and going down the hill at Llŷn and we passed what 3 or 4, didn't we?
Yeah.
The 50 miles, and then getting on the final bit on the beach. We passed another 3 or 4, didn't we?
Yeah.
But no, we did really well.
Yeah,
very good.
So both of us really happy with the time, and it was a great experience as well.
Yeah.
It was just nice.
41.
Fantastic effort.
Yeah, the drop back here. Got to your coffee or? Okay. It's alright.
Good effort, everyone. How are you all feeling?
Tea, one coffee.
One black tea.
Black tea.
Yeah, one coffee just for one sugar.
And a coffee, 3 sugars, please. Is that with milk? Yes, please.
Yeah.
That's
Hard,
impressive.
yeah.
That's proper impressive for
I
your
think
beer.
I've only been running since New Year. After a drink.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you would know. Absolutely.
Which one? I used to live in North West. Where now? I'll spin you the bit later. Yeah. Wee small hours.
Sign up, big round of applause, Llŷn. Well done. Da iawn chdi.
That's not for him, I hope.
That's number 2.
Getting all the marshals together. So last year the date was the 23rd of June. We opened, got lots of people booking straight away, and then it became apparent over supper one evening that this is my wife's birthday, which was the 23rd of June. Now you normally get a compulsory list of things that you need to bring for an ultramarathon, and last year I added a birthday card for my wife because my house is also a checkpoint, and it's open from 11 o'clock in the morning till 2:10 in the morning the following day. So my wife was there. So she had 147 birthday cards, but that's one of the reasons why it's on the 29th this year, and I'm taking her out for lunch on Saturday.